Should you work for free? Most people are going to tell you absolutely not. Do not work for free. Don't give it away. Just say no. And I agree most of the time. But in today's episode, I'm going to tell you when you should work for free and how to decide if you should take the opportunity presented to you or not. Welcome to Explore Your Enthusiasm, episode 148 with me, Swiger. Today we're going to talk about when you should absolutely work for free and when you should not. I'm going to give you some guidelines so that you can help decide if a certain opportunity or thing is right for you or it's not right for you. This is the month of March and we're talking all March about money, and we can't talk about money without talking about working for free and how many times crafters and makers and designers and service providers are asked to do this. So this topic came up for me recently because I saw a conversation by Absolutely Lovey on Twitter, and I'll link to that in the show notes. She's talking about conferences that don't pay speakers. Now, she is like a New York Times bestselling author and gets invited to conferences all over the world, and her conversation about that was retweeted by my pal Kim Worker, with whom I've had many frustrated conversations about craft conferences that don't pay speakers. And maybe you guys don't all know this, but many craft conferences don't pay their speakers, even though they are charging attendees a ticket price. I don't take any teaching jobs that don't pay. So for the last 2 years, anywhere you've seen me has paid me fairly to be there. Now, these events not only use the speakers, my content, to get more attendees, but they also use your audience. So they don't just want you to come and speak, but they also want you to share the event, and they use your name recognition. So that might not be true for me. I'm not a best-selling author, but many times people with huge audiences are invited to teach for free or to speak and then promote the event to their audiences, and then they use their name like, oh, so-and-so will be here. You should definitely come to this. It's like this situation, if you're thinking, well, that doesn't seem too bad, I want you to think of the courses I've co-created with Stacey Trock or Jolie Kelly. It's like if I created those courses with them, I ask them to give their content, which they did because we co-created it together, and then I asked them to spread it to their audience, but they didn't pay them anything for their content or their marketing. That would be crazy. No one would take that deal. That is not what we're doing, by the way. In both of those classes, it was split 50-50 because their content and their marketing is valuable, right? And the same with me. When I'm co-create a class with somebody, they pay me for my time and my marketing of it. Now, some of these things I'm talking about are actually in-person events, conferences you go to, and like even really big and fancy ones, but there are a zillion online conferences who do the same thing. Sometimes they're called summits, sometimes they're called conferences. They ask their speakers to contribute, and then the organizer packages up all the contributions and sells that package. Now, I'm bringing this up because I get 2 to 4 emails a month asking me to participate in these things. Whenever I follow up and say, A, will I be paid? Or B, are you going to be paid? Like, is it a free thing we're doing that's totally free and nothing will be sold at the end, right? Like, it's kind of like, that would be like being on a podcast. I was just interviewed for a podcast. Happy to do it. The podcast is free. It goes out to people. Anybody can listen to it. There's no paywall to get it. So I always say no, both to in-person and online events like this, except in the case where it's going to result in a really high quality product that I could be paid for, like by selling it to my own audience. Or, and those I only do if I would be telling you about it, my audience, whether I contributed or not. So if it has a lineup of speakers that I'm like, oh my goodness, my people will love this, then I would happily share about it, whether I'm being paid for it or not. Whether I would be involved or not, I would share it anyhow. Or I will occasionally do these if I really like and trust the people and I know what they're putting together and they're my friends and I want to hang out with them. So you will see in the next couple months, this actually is fresh for me because I did agree to do 2 online workshop summit things, and it's because one of those 2 reasons. It's either going to be a great thing that I'm super excited about and would be excited about no matter what, or it's with my friends and people I like to spend time with. Those are both online things, and I'll tell you more about them when they come up. But here's the thing. These online summits are really great marketing tools for the people who do them, for the people who are organizing them. Because if you can line up a bunch of A-list speakers who tell their audiences to buy it, and then you get to keep all the money, then that's a really great thing for you, and it builds your audience because all of those speakers are saying, hey, I trusted this person enough to recommend their product and to donate my time and energy and content to it. But I get why people are doing it, like organizing it. I don't get why I would be involved, because if I just wanted a platform to talk for an hour, that's why I have my own podcast. So here's the thing. I bring this up because this has been fresh in my mind, because I've turned down a lot of people, both to do in-person events and to do online events, because it made absolutely no sense. The exchange was not a fair exchange of value. And that is where this applies to you. So you might not be interested in speaking at conferences. You might not get asked to speak at these summits. Instead, you might be wondering if you should barter your item with somebody else who has something you want, or someone who has approached you. Or you might wonder if you should agree to create a tutorial for a website that's really big and would give you exposure. Or you might be wondering if you should do a pattern that you're not going to get paid for fairly, what you would normally charge for a pattern. If those are the things you're wondering, the easy answer is just to say no, don't do it. End of podcast. But there are actually really good reasons to work for free, so I want to make sure we talk about those today. So I feel like in our world we hear and see a lot of rants about like, just no, don't work for free, it devalues everybody, don't do it, don't do it. But there are good reasons to do it, and so I want to talk about how you know which is which and when you should consider working for free. So here are the reasons you'd work for free. Number one, work for free to get started. So if you've done nothing of the thing you want to do, and this usually applies to service providers, and you can't seem to get a client, a paid client doing it, or you don't have any experience doing it, work for free in order to get experience and in order to build up people who can recommend you, and in order to get testimonials you can use to say, these people actually really liked what I did. So some examples of this would be if you want to edit videos, or if you want to tech edit patterns, or if you want to do coaching with someone and you've never done it before, then you should absolutely ask people if you can do it for free for them, tech edit their patterns, edit their videos, coach them. In exchange for, you would get the experience and you would get the testimonials and they would get the thing you're doing. So this also applies if you really, really, really want to work with something and you don't know what you have to offer in return to make the exchange fair. Your free work is one of the things you have to offer in exchange to make it fair, especially if they're going to promote you or talk about you or share you with their audience. So in those cases, absolutely work for free in order to prove your worth and get experience, and then move to paid work. So this would just be your first couple customers and clients just to get started. So if you're a tech editor or even a designer and you want to work with a magazine or a yarn company, you could offer to do one job, one tech edit, one pattern for free. And then if they like you, they can hire you to do the next thing. So if you're a tech editor that wants to work in a magazine, you could offer to tech edit once for free. If you want to work with a really big designer, you could offer to do it for free. And then if they like you, they can hire you for the next job. So you're not just going to work for free forever. You're doing it specifically so they could test you out. If you super badly wanted to be my VA, and I am hiring for a new VA soon, you could offer your services for 2 weeks. And then if I liked you, I'd hire it on. However, I just recently got a new editor of my videos. Hi, Jolie. And I paid her for the initial tryout period while we both were seeing if we liked working together and if the system worked and if we were going to keep working together. I paid her for that because I was looking for someone to do that. If she had out of the blue approached me and said, I want to edit your videos, and I said, well, I'm not really looking to hire an editor of videos, she could then say, well, I'd be willing to do a couple videos for free, and if you like it, then you can pay me to keep me on. So you see, that's like a very specific short-term working for free. Do it then. Do it if you're just getting started. Second reason you might work for free, this kind of goes along with the first, is if it's your idea. So if you want access to a specific platform, a specific person, like a magazine or a conference stage or something, then you already are getting the exchange because you're getting to do that thing you wanted to do. And that's what you're exchanging your free work for. So it's paying you and the experience you want to have. And this goes back to what really matters when you're working for free or you're pricing your work is to make the exchange of energy and money and time and experience equal. It needs to be equal or close to equal for you both to feel good about it. So people don't value something that they get for free, typically. They value it more if they spend their resources on it, whether it's their time or their energy or their money. And that's why you have to be careful of underpricing your work. But when you're just getting started and what you need is experience or exposure, and that's really what you need to get started, you would do it. However, that's if it's your idea and it's something you've decided that you value more than money in exchange for your work and energy. Now, the third time to work for free is work for free if you are very passionate about the mission. So I would absolutely teach for free for a conference where it supported some mission that I care a lot about, whether it was feeding hungry people or all of the, it was a fundraiser for Feeding America, which is a nonprofit I give to every month anyhow. If it was something that I was already super involved in and passionate about, I would absolutely work for free in service of that bigger mission, because that's what I'm getting in exchange. Okay, now here's the times not to work for free. Number one, if it's someone else's idea and something that will benefit them. So really, this is a catch-all for everything else I say. Everything else I'm going to cover comes down to this. If someone comes to you and asks you for work to work for free on something that you wouldn't have approached them to do for free, don't do it. Don't. They're setting the parameters. Instead, I want you to say no. Back up and ask yourself, what would I be so excited to do? I would do it for free. And then go pursue those opportunities. Don't just say yes to something because they came to you and maybe you're a little flattered they came to you. This is especially true if they have a business that will make money off the work that you usually get paid for. They're asking you to give them something for free so they can make money off of it. No, don't do it. For example, if a conference doesn't pay me to teach classes that I usually get paid to teach, I'm going to say no. If a magazine or website or blog wants you to sell a pattern or tutorial, or they want to sell one of your patterns or tutorials that you would normally sell, say no. Now, also say no if the other person is going to sell your free work as a part of it and you won't be compensated. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't know why people say yes to these deals. If you have approached them and you want so badly to be on their platform, then sure. But if they're approaching you, don't do it. And number three, if anyone ever promises you exposure, don't do it. You can't pay your bills in exposure. Stacy Trock tweeted in this conversation we were having on Twitter, yeah, if only the banks would accept exposure in lieu of your mortgage. But they won't. You have to have cash money. So if you really want exposure, don't take what's offered to you. You identify platforms that have the audience you want to reach and that you want to be a part of, and then you go and pitch them. All right? Then that's something you know you're excited about. Don't just say yes because an opportunity comes to you. And the reason I can say this with absolute authority, don't take a deal if someone approaches you and offers you exposure, is the only time I've ever heard of anyone doing this, of somebody going to people and asking them and offering exposure, is when the person is being approached because they already have an audience and the organization wants to use your audience to promote their thing. So conferences and summits and publishers don't go and ask someone like random with no audience to do something for free. They go to people who have an audience and they're trying to suck up that audience. And they want to use your audience and your name to promote the thing that they're selling. So say no. So it's interesting. Whenever anybody offers you exposure, what they really mean is they want you to give them exposure. And by the way, I'm not mad at them. They can absolutely try it. But what would work so much better is what I said at the beginning. If you want to get on a platform or get with a person or work for a person that you're really excited about, offer to work for them for free. Don't ask them to give you their work for free, right? So I want you to keep that in mind. So in summary, when asked, say no, but be willing to pursue opportunities in places you want to be and offer up your free work for a short period of time that's very well defined in the very, very beginning to get started. So working for free, not always a bad thing, right? When you're getting started, when you want to work with somebody specific, if you want to be on a specific project, offer up your work for free for a very limited time. But when you're approached by someone who's going to make money off of your thing you normally make money off of, say no. So I hope that helped you decide whether you should and shouldn't work for free. If you want to learn more about pricing and value and how to get what you're worth, you can check out my class Pricing 101, which actually comes as a bonus to my big class Pay Yourself, which is coming soon. And you can learn more about that at taraswiger.com/pay. Sign up there. You'll learn more about it when it does come out. And if you've been thinking about joining the Starship, Pay Yourself, Pricing 101, and lots of discussions about money and tracking and all of this is all included in the Starship. You can go to taraswiger.com/SS for Starship, SS, to sign up to be notified when new spots open. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish you an enthusiastic, well-paid day.